Every extraordinary man pays a price. Batman paid his. The question is, are you willing to pay yours? Because becoming different often means walking alone. While everyone else seeks comfort, Batman chooses solitude. Not because he enjoys being alone, but because greatness is rarely built in a crowd. Why do you fear being alone? Why do you always need someone around to feel complete? What if your greatest transformation can only happen in solitude? Stay with me. Because by the end of this, you will understand exactly why Batman accepted the price of being alone, and why you might need to accept it too. Batman never became mentally strong because people constantly supported him. He became strong because he learned how to stand alone. No team standing behind him in the beginning, no crowd cheering his name, just a man, a decision, and years of silence. Today, we study the Batman method of mastering solitude. Most people confuse loneliness with weakness. Batman saw it differently. He saw solitude as a weapon, sharpened in silence, used with precision. Let's break down exactly how he built it. Why most people fear being alone, most people fear silence. Not the silence of a room, but the silence inside their own mind. Because in that silence, there is no distraction left to hide behind. No phone, no noise, no crowd to blend into. Just you, and whatever you've been avoiding. This is why people chase constant validation. A message here, a notification there. Small hits of comfort that quietly become dependence. This is why people fill every gap with distraction. Music in every silence. Screens in every idle moment. Conversation in every uncomfortable pause. This is why people stay socially dependent, needing others not for connection, but for identity. They don't know who they are when no one is watching. Batman understood this trap early. He knew that a man who cannot sit with himself will never be able to lead himself. So before he became Batman, he had to master being alone with his own mind. Most people never realize this, but the fear of silence is really the fear of self-discovery, and that fear is exactly what keeps people small. Batman trains in silence. Batman doesn't grow in the spotlight. He grows when nobody is watching. Every skill, every ounce of discipline, every moment of control was built in isolation, long before the world ever saw it. Think about it. The training happened in empty rooms. The preparation happened in quiet hours. The failures happened where no one could witness them. This is the part people skip when they imagine greatness. They see the mask. They see the mission. They never see the years of invisible work that made it possible. Discipline built alone. Preparation repeated alone. Consistency practiced alone, when there was no applause to chase. This is where real confidence is born. Not from being told you're capable, but from privately proving it to yourself, over and over, when nobody was there to give you credit. Batman never needed an audience to work hard. He worked hard so that when the moment came, he wouldn't need luck. But Batman understood something different than most. Silent work isn't a punishment, it's a privilege. Because it means nobody can take credit for what you built, and nobody can talk you out of who you're becoming. Solitude builds mental strength. Being alone forces you to confront yourself. There's nowhere left to hide, no crowd to absorb your fear, no noise to drown out your doubts, just you facing exactly who you are. This is uncomfortable. Most people run from this moment. Batman walked toward it because he understood something most people never learn. Self-awareness only comes through reflection, and reflection only happens in silence. Every time Batman sat alone with his pain, his losses, his fears, he wasn't torturing himself. He was studying himself, learning his weaknesses so they couldn't be used against him, learning his triggers so they couldn't control him. Building emotional control, one uncomfortable moment at a time. This is where real mental resilience comes from. not from avoiding hard emotions, but from sitting with them until they no longer own you. Batman welcomed those uncomfortable moments because he knew comfort builds nothing. This is where real transformation begins. Not in comfort, in the quiet, difficult confrontation with yourself. Stop seeking constant validation. Many people stay surrounded by others because they fear their own identity. They don't know who they are without an audience, without likes, without approval, without someone constantly confirming that they're enough. Batman never needed applause. He needed purpose. There were no crowds cheering him on in the middle of the night, no comments validating his choices, no one clapping when he chose the harder path. He built his identity in private, so it couldn't be shaken in public. This is the danger of people-pleasing. You start shaping yourself around approval instead of purpose. You start comparing your path to everyone else's instead of walking your own. Social media has made this worse. A constant performance, a constant search for external proof that you matter. But self-respect isn't given by a crowd. It's built alone, through decisions nobody applauds. Batman's strength was never about being seen. It was about being solid, whether anyone was watching or not. The next lesson explains why most people never reach their potential. The price of greatness. This is where it gets real. Every meaningful transformation demands sacrifice. Sometimes that sacrifice is comfort. Sometimes it's popularity. Sometimes it's walking a path that very few people understand. Batman didn't choose an easy life. He chose a necessary one. He gave up ordinary comforts, casual relationships, a predictable, comfortable existence, not because he hated those things, but because his purpose demanded a different kind of focus. This is the price almost nobody talks about. Behind every extraordinary result, there are quiet nights of solitude that built it. Hours nobody saw, sacrifices nobody applauded, a version of yourself that had to be built before the world ever recognized it. Batman accepted that price without resentment. He didn't see solitude as punishment. He saw it as tuition, the cost of becoming who he needed to be. This final principle changes everything, because once you understand the price, you stop resenting the silence. You start respecting it. Become comfortable standing alone. This is the transformation. The moment you no longer fear silence, no longer fear being misunderstood, no longer depend on attention to feel like you matter, no longer chase approval to feel complete. Instead, you build yourself quietly, like Batman. You start showing up for your own discipline, even when no one is watching. You start sitting with your own thoughts instead of running from them. You start trusting your own judgment instead of needing constant confirmation. This doesn't mean rejecting people. It doesn't mean isolating yourself from the world. Batman still had Alfred. He still had allies he trusted. He still valued connection. But he never depended on a crowd to know who he was. That's the difference between loneliness and purposeful solitude. Loneliness is empty. Purposeful solitude is intentional. One drains you, the other builds you. Batman chose the second, again and again, until standing alone no longer felt like a weakness. It felt like strength. Batman never feared standing alone. He feared becoming ordinary. The strongest people aren't always surrounded by crowds. Sometimes they're quietly building themselves while the world isn't paying attention. The world celebrates success, but almost nobody sees the lonely nights that created it. Batman accepted that price. The question is, will you? If you're choosing growth over comfort, comment these 3 words: I stand alone. Not because you reject people, but because you're choosing to become someone stronger than you were yesterday. The path may be lonely, but that's often where greatness begins.